again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Browns Latest. I'm Dave Grendzynski, and this is where we get you caught up on some of the latest news involving our favorite team in the NFL. That is, of course, the Cleveland Browns. And then we share our opinions about said news along the way. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel and who has liked our previous episodes. Hopefully this one makes the list. Those of you who are also members of the Browns Dog Pound, our Browns Latest Dog Pound, appreciate that as well. And then to all of you who get your comments down in the viewer comments section and make your voices heard. And boy, there is plenty to talk about today, as all eyes were on Dillon Gabriel during the second preseason game of the year, and DG did not succumb to the pressure. As much as people are talking about Dillon Gabriel's performance, there were other areas of the team that performed really well as well. Now that game 2 is under our belt, where do we go from here? And then down in the viewer comments, what nobody has realized up until this point of training camp. But first things first, we have to talk about the Flying Hawaiian. Dillon Gabriel gets the start after what Shedeur Sanders did last week. So we got rookie 1, and now this week, Dillon Gabriel taken in the 3rd round. Everybody questioned it. Everybody couldn't understand what we were doing. Already people are saying we wasted a 3rd round pick because all you see at training camp are stats like 6 for 19 and 1 for 5 and balls being batted down and you name it. But Dillon Gabriel put on a pretty good show yesterday. I mean, it didn't have the same feel as Shedeur, but it was still effective. And let's talk about this first, the stats. He was 13 for 18, 143 yards, had that bad interception. The passer rating, 72.2, so not as good as Shedeur. Not as many yards as Shedeur. Didn't throw it as much as Shedeur. But that first drive of the game is textbook Kevin Stefanski offense. He was 4 for 4 for 29 yards. They ran the ball 8 times for 38 yards. Took almost half of the quarter away. That was an 8-minute drive they put together. And then to end the half, this is huge. They were 6 for 7 on third. At one point, they were 6 for 6. They converted their first 6 third downs with Dillon Gabriel. And on that first drive, he had that great throw to Whiteheart on the 3rd and 6 to keep that alive. He had another one to Thrash on 3rd and 5. Found Strong on 3rd and 2 to keep the drive alive again. I mean, he showed a lot of the same characteristics we saw out of Shedeur Sanders the week before. He was poised. He was patient. He was accurate. He was methodical. That's the difference. He took what the defense gave him. That first drive didn't look to force it downfield, didn't look to do anything special, and just got him down the field and got him some points. You know, like what else could you ask for out of him in that first drive? The second drive, though, started out great. They went 41 yards on 7 plays, but on that rollout, and you heard Joe Thomas say it was the exact play that Shedeur scored the touchdown on last week to Caden Davis, that rollout to the left. And now this play is built for the left-hander. It's built for Dillon Gabriel because he is left-handed. He rolls left, but Deontay Johnson and Whiteheart got too close together, and he tried to force it in there. And, yeah, he needed to just throw that ball away. So rookie mistake. They're going to happen. And then, you know, the other drive, the third drive ended on a sack. But, I mean, he got sacked twice. Neither of those were really on him because he had no chance. Cornelius Lucas got beat on the one. You know, and when they end up kicking the field goal, Hopkins kicked the field goal. But, you know, he looked good on the 2-minute drill. Got him into field goal range before the end of the first half. And so, you know, I'll tell you, like, you know, a lot of good things. The fumble, the strong though, like that looks. I mean, that's a miscommunication. It could be that maybe they weren't working together enough. But the thing is, those turnovers all led to points, and so Dylan Gabriel, tough to. I mean, we said yesterday, coming out of this, you're probably going to be like, kind of on the fence. So it kind of has that feel, but he wasn't terrible. I mean, he was pretty solid. Shedeur, like that just had so much more flair to it, that his performance and more, the fanfare coming in and like there was just it was more of a spectacle. Where it was almost like watching a golfer eat up a golf course. Kind of, because golf is not that exciting to watch, but still very effective. And then there are a couple of bad shots in between, the interception, the fumble, but we're going to talk about that more in a minute, because let's talk about this whole team. Let's talk about the team as a whole. And, okay, let's start with the bad thing first. The special teams, the extra point, the botch snap, like that's 2 weeks in a row now. If we're going to play these low-scoring games that we were going to rely a lot on the defense, we're going to need every point we can get. So we've got to get this cleaned up. I mean, Hopkins and Schmidt both converted field goals, 49 and 46. So that's good. That's the good part about it. It was nice to see Andre Schmidt, man. He drilled that thing right down the pipe at the end of the half. So that's a good thing. But still, man, we don't need these. That's the extra points. Like these need to be automatic. But I will say, as a whole, the special teams look pretty good, even on the returns. I thought Caden Davis and Gage Larvidan looked good on special teams. I'll tell you what, Larvidan is reminding me so much more of Webster Slaughter every time I see him. And it's not just because he's wearing the 84. I mean, it's the jukes he makes. It's the way he runs. He runs like a deer. He's so smooth. I mean, he is like we got the second coming of Clay Matthews in Carson Sweshinger. And I think we have the second coming of Webster Slaughter in Gage Larvidan. We got to teach him the dance, the Webster dance. And because he just continues to impress. Also impressive. I thought the offensive line did a good job. They're creating some holes. They gave Gabriel, especially on that first drive, they gave Gabriel the time he needed. There was that one sack, but that was a complete breakdown when they went empty. It was a complete breakdown in communication, and Gabriel didn't have a chance. But they overcame it. They overcame it on that drive. That's the thing. Those are the things. Those are the good things we talked about with Shedeur last week. Gabriel did the same things. Overcame adversity. It just wasn't as flashy. It was just very methodical. And so, but still effective. But the thing, I think, that stole the show, the defense. We told you this defense is legit. And now this is the backups that were in there against their backups. And now there are some people who say the Eagles' number twos probably could start for almost any other team in the NFL. This defense ate them up. Held the Eagles to 38 total yards in the first half. The only that score when McCord came in, it was a short field, man. That was after the fumble when Gabriel couldn't get it into the midst of Strong. And they got pushed around a little bit there, whether it was the quick turnaround or whatever it was. But Cam Thomas had the two penalties. He had the late hit on McCord. Don't need that. But it was Cam Mitchell. Remember, he's vying for this third quarterback spot now that Martin Emerson is out, who got beat on that touchdown, on the second touchdown. Because the first one was the pick six that Dylan Gabriel had thrown. I mean, that was a ball Gabriel should have never thrown. And then now you got this fumble leading to more points because Mitchell ends up getting beat for the second touchdown. So 13 points on 2 turnovers. Overall, that is not good. And those are, if that happens more often than not, we're not going to be able to overcome all of that. But we did. We were able to. This defense, it is just doing everything that's being asked of it. And more Aquawa shows up again with the sack. that led to the interception by Henry and the touchdown that gave us the lead. Like, the score doesn't matter, folks. It's the performances that matter. The score in the end doesn't matter. But remember, we said, hey, let's throw a score. Let's look for a scoring, the defense to score today. We threw that in our things to watch for, our bold predictions, and they did it. Now, DTR was out there for the Eagles most of the time, so take it with a grain of salt. There's a reason we got rid of him, because we saw enough of him last year. He's just not that good. McCord, I don't think McCord's that good either. But what have we always said? And this applies to Dillon Gabriel too. We've been talking about it with Shedeur. Whoever's in front of you, take it. You just play with the cards you've been dealt, and just if they got 2s and 3s in front of you, tear them up, and that's what we did. Gabriel, majority backups with him, and majority backups for the Eagles. Didn't matter, man. Like, he went out there, and I didn't see a batted pass. I mean, honestly, the problem with it is if it wasn't for the interception and the fumble, people would be raving probably about Dillon Gabriel today, because what they're just so glaring, the interception and the fumble. They're just very glaring mistakes, and so they stand out. Almost. I don't want to not enough to take precedence over. It's not the first thing that's going to come out of your mouth, but he looked really. The whole offense looked really solid, which brings us to this. Where do we go from here now? What happens now? Here's what I'm going to say. Gabriel looked way better than I was expecting. His arm looked strong, and he threw. I thought he threw from the pocket more than he threw from the pocket way more than I expected. They rolled the pocket. The one time they rolled the pocket, it turned into a pick six. Here's what I will say, though. He looks incredibly slow when he's trying to scramble or he tries to run. That 4.9 speed is showing up. And so, Stefanski has to hate those turnovers. He had the 2. So the edge goes to Shedeur in that department. And the speed and the escapability absolutely goes to Shedeur. Because, boy, does he look slow when he's trying to run away from somebody. But here's the thing. 2 different styles. Gabriel, slow, methodical, compared to Shedeur. But both are effective. They both worked. Which is what we have to celebrate. We haven't had this kind of competency in the quarterback room in years. Starting with Flacco, who, as we see, he can run this off. He's a statue and can still run this offense effectively. Dillon Gabriel showed us that he is near statue. He is so close to statue, but still ran this offense effectively. Shedeur Sanders, all of the same traits, accurate, the bigger arm, like the big arm, like all of it, but he adds that extra flair that he can run a little bit, and allegedly Pickett can run too, but we haven't seen any of that from him, so I'm going to leave him out of this conversation at this point because we just haven't seen anything of him. Now, again, haven't seen this kind of competency in the quarterback room in a long time. But fully expect Joe Flacco to be quarterback 1. Flacco, everybody was hinting at it yesterday when you were watching the broadcast. Flacco, will be named quarterback 1. This is the battle for quarterback 2, quarterback 3, and wherever Pickett ends up. But like I said, Larvidan looking great. And if he can do what Webster Slaughter did for us, he's going to have himself a long career here in Cleveland. One player that I am over is Pierre Strong. I'm done. In that first half, he had 8 carries for 23 yards plus the fumble. And then you have Amani Marshall, 4 for 22. He was averaging 5 yards a carry, and he had the touchdown. And that was textbook wide zone running. That touchdown that Marshall scored, the first touchdown of the game. You saw the line stretching it out to the right, and then Marshall makes it look like he's going to try and run outside, but bam, the hole is inside. He cuts back, and it was wide open. He was right there. Still showing a lot of quicks. I think he looks fast out there. I like Marshall. Strong, I'm over it. I think he looks slow. I saw enough of him last year, and I've been saying it this whole time, this preseason. I've had enough. So, but with Judkins coming back, and then Dylan Sampson, you have Jerome Ford, Amani Marshall. If he ends up on the practice squad, so be it. But he has looked really good in both of the preseason games. And then the other thing that we had going forward, this turnover thing is going to kill us if we don't get it under control. Short fields are going to kill us. And so to have 2 turnovers lead to 13 points, like I mentioned a few minutes ago, it's just you're not going to be able to overcome that every single time. Now, to sum it all up, the defense is legit, folks. This defense is legitimate, and it is going to carry this team, especially early in the season. There is no doubt about it. The offense keeps getting better. What's good is, even with Shedeur 1 week and Dylan Gabriel the next week, the offense looked very competent both weeks. They were in and out of the huddle. The sacks, there were a couple sacks here and there, but the penalties were down. They were able to get plays off. They were very effective. You saw the high percentage passes, the catch and runs. You saw Larvidan. You saw Thrash. The throws to the sideline. Gabriel made some nice throws to the sideline. I mean, like I said, his arm looked much stronger than I expected. But the offense is coming together. This is the 2s and 3s, guys. Wait till we get the 1s in there. We kept hearing it all week, especially that second practice against the Eagles. That number 1 defense of theirs, that our number 1s, they were moving units. They were moving the ball. And so this is exactly what we talked about. If we keep the turnovers down, we're going to move the ball on anybody. And so we saw that firsthand yesterday. You eliminate those turnovers, and everybody is probably have lost their minds because they don't know what quarterback we should go with as far as the quarterback too, because they both would have looked so good. The turnovers are going to hurt the conversation with Gabriel because they were so big and they led to 13 points. But if you take those away, he had, I'll just call it solid. I mean, it was completely different look. But he passed the eye test. It's a completely different look. Slow, methodical, but he passed the eye test just like Shedeur did. He looked so much different to me in that game against the Eagles than he did in that practice that I saw last week. So take that for what it's worth. The special teams, outside of these extra points, we're okay. I'm just going to call that solid as well. We got to clean up these extra points. Folks, we have got to celebrate the fact that the Cleveland Browns finally look like a competent NFL team for the first time in I don't know how long. We had those 5 games with Flacco, but outside of that, this team has not looked like an NFL team for a lot of the games that they have played. But man, oh man, if this is the floor, let's go. To just keep being able to build on this and the confidence, it's just a different vibe. You can see it in the team. And the other thing is, when you get those 3rd and 6s now, you get those 3rd and 7s, now I feel we have a chance to convert. And we do. 6 out of 7 in the first half. Shedeur was doing it last week. Last year, with the quarterbacks that we had, 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, just punted away. We had no chance. This is a completely different look and feel. We are looking like an NFL team. We belong. And I'm telling you, folks, I hope people keep sleeping on us because we are going to surprise a ton of people this year as the season gets going. Now, speaking of that, here's the schedule. We'll hear from Kevin Stefanski later today via Zoom. He'll look at the film and then give us his thoughts. And then no scheduled availability tomorrow. They're back at it Tuesday and Wednesday with practice. And then now here's the upcoming games. You got the Rams this week. They'll come here to the friendly confines of Huntington Bake Field on the shores of beautiful Lake Erie. They'll be here at 1 o'clock on Saturday. August 30th, no game because that's the week before the season starts. week 1, September 7th against the Bengals, 1 o'clock, and then we'll go to the Ravens week 2. So that's when you'll see the one. You won't see any of the ones on the 23rd. But the viewer comments, they're always running with the ones. And so we're going to start with Maddie Ghost 3409, who says, Gabriel responsible for 2 turnovers already. He says, pure ass. Now listen, it's not. That's a little extreme. Like I said, those are those quality. Remember we talked about it like with Flacco? It's just those quality interceptions that you don't want, in those critical situations, or those bad ones when it would have been so easy to throw that ball away. Instead, it turns into a pick six. Like, that's going to be the knock on Gabriel. I can feel it already. Everybody's going to say he was not as good as Shedeur because he had the interception and there was a fumble and it led to 13 points. I know it's coming. I already know it's coming. But I'm going to tell you, the rest of it looked pretty good. And the ball, in and out, he looked in command. All of the other things that Shedeur showed, Gabriel showed. So, and as a Browns fan, you have to be happy about that. You have to be. If you're a Browns fan, we have competent quarterbacks in the room across the board. And Pickett. And I only say that because we haven't seen Pickett do anything yet. So that's what I'm celebrating today. The fact that we finally look like an NFL team. David IXW4X goes from YouTube handle to Passport. He says, nobody is realizing how good the Browns' offense and defensive lines are. Sanders looked good in his first start, but the others haven't had a turn yet. I hope they all look good, but Flacco is our starter. This is just for backup spots. 100% correct on all of this. Shedeur looked good in his start. Gabriel looked good in his start. Flacco will be number 1, and the defensive line and the offensive line. The defensive line is better. The defensive line is legit. The offensive line looks really good. It looks like exactly what we expected. This line is built for this offense and that wide zone scheme. And right now, I mean, it is. We look good on both sides of the ball, and I can't remember the last time we've been able to say that. Johnny Newcomb, 162, he says, this is good. Johnny Newcomb, 5162, says, Shedeur played the Panthers, who had one of the worst defenses in the league, with the Eagles being ranked number 1. This game yesterday was completely different from week 1. Hopefully, Shedeur plays and he shows he is better. He didn't play. We knew he wasn't going to play. And so, comparing the two defenses, the Panthers defense and the Eagles. Here's the thing, folks, like we talked about. You can't get too caught up in all of that. I mean, it is a thing. It is a thing. But like we mentioned, like Quinn Ewers, I watched Cam Ward the other night. I was not that impressed. I was like, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, man, we got, give me Shedeur all day over there. Now, after seeing Gabriel, give me Gabriel all day over Cam Ward. It's about the performance. It's not necessarily about who they're going up against. Now, this did matter. Those joint practices, because the Eagles' defense, the defensive line, their offensive line, are the best in the league in a lot of respects. So, but don't get caught up in that. Just get caught up in the overall performances when it comes to preseason. Scripture Monkey says, oh boy, here we go. Gabriel wins out on talent, but with Sanders, it seems to be more about popularity, selling jerseys. The W is all that matters. Yeah, and they both got W's, so that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. Two completely different styles. If they both result in wins, who cares? Two completely different. And Flacco's going to be a different style too when he gets in there. I don't care what the style is. Just get the ball in the end zone and get us wins. That's it. That's where we're at in Cleveland, folks. That is what we want. A quarterback who can win us games and win us a Super Bowl. And right now, we've got quarterbacks that look like every single one of them can win us games. Look at how fast things change. We had 4 quarterbacks. What do you think is going to happen when the season starts? You want all of these guys to be ready and to be competent because you lose quarterbacks left and right. Flacco goes down. You got to feel comfortable with where you're going next. And right now, it looks like everybody's getting pretty comfortable with running this offense, which is the most important thing. Allie Muscle says, Browns just need good quarterback play. They have all the pieces on both sides of the ball to compete. Allie Muscle, you took the words right out of my mouth. I just said that. It's like you knew I was going to say that, Allie Muscle. But you're right. That's it. That is where we're at. And then D So Nice is who we're going to end on. Judy and Bond could be a really fun duo. And you are absolutely right, D So Nice. I will say this. Deontay Johnson, I thought Gabriel would be the meh performance. Deontay Johnson, for me, at this point, is kind of meh. So maybe Boyd takes Johnson's spot on the roster, because even Caden Davis looked like, he again looked pretty good, especially returning kicks. So maybe they go with the youth movement at wide receiver and just to see what happens. I don't know. I would have to say at this point, Deontay Johnson could potentially be on the bubble. But Bond, he's in Cleveland and is supposed to be signed at some point today if it hasn't happened already. So I'm telling you. And then you get Judkins back, this offense. After what we've seen the two rookies do with the 2s and the 3s, come on, man. Going to be an exciting year. Going to be a good year. I can already feel it. So, all right. That'll do it for today. Thank you so much. Hey, how'd you like the mic? We got a new mic. Testing out a new mic. Hopefully it sounds better. Hopefully. I don't know. We'll see. Let me know in the comments. I don't know. But, yeah. Anyway. Go Browns! We'll see you next time.